Hi there, Virgo. Thank you for joining me for your monthly forecast for August. I want you to think back to this time last year. Just then, Jupiter, the planet of expansion, was preparing to enter your sign. Now, Jupiter makes its way through each zodiac sign at a year at a time, so it only comes round into our own zodiac sign once every 12 years. It triggered an opportunity for you last August to take possession of yourself in terms of your creative intent, your individuality. But it's not necessarily been all plain sailing. And part of the reason for that, Virgo, is that Jupiter actually is not at its happiest in your sign. Jupiter is about expansion, it's about the big picture, and it's about good fortune, whereas your sign is very much about the detail, the nitty-gritty. And therefore it's in detriment. But that doesn't mean to say that it can't have a big impact and it can't help you, because you're just apply to its go-getting energies a little bit more earthiness and an ability to think positively, but also back it up with hard work and perspiration. So in some ways you can make it work for you very, very well. But I think over the last year there's probably been some strands that you've pursued in terms of your individuality, which may not all have worked out. But this is a month, August, when you have an opportunity to see the things you have invested a lot of time and energy in really start to come up to fruition in an incredibly positive way. And the action really starts to kick in from week 2, when your ruler connects with Jupiter, and then in week 3, when Jupiter, Venus and Mercury are all together in one line. And this is very, very special. And of course, because Jupiter only comes to our sign once every 12 years, this is a very uncommon event. Now, Venus is about our personal expression, Jupiter is about good fortune, expansion, and Mercury about how we think. And Mercury is in your sign as this month begins. But Venus joins up on the 6th after a transition through part of your horoscope, which may see you think very carefully in the early parts of this month about the back end of your life, the more subconscious side of your situation. You may even start this month feeling a little bit withdrawn from other people and needing rather more time to yourself. There's a very sensitive new moon which occurs on the 2nd, which has got its positives. It can see you tapping into lots of past hard work and endeavours, or the things that you've been building up in the fabric of your personality in terms of your sticking power and your profound understanding of what really makes you tick, because this new moon merges with Saturn, which is in the part of your scope to do with security. So your wisdom to look beneath the surface, to do your research, can help to showcase a new possibility which can be very long lasting and give you a lot of excitement, and it may be to do with where you live or how you live there. In fact, with Mars arriving in your sector of home and family and security on the 3rd, joining up with Saturn, which has been a rather tricky influence over the last year or so, and more recently since mid-May, as it's clashed with Neptune in your sector of relating. As Mars moves into this area, it gives you a little bit more drive to make some changes here, whether it's upgrading where you live, actually manifestly change in your home in some way, perhaps by some kind of home improvement scheme. Or perhaps it's nothing to do with where you live, but more what's going on inside of you. Mars can give you the drive to feel more secure within yourself. But it is going to be important not to be defensive from the 17th through to the 28th of this month, because then Mars and Saturn combine. And when that happens, there could be a possibility that you can be a bit more prickly and your emotions can be much closer to the surface. Mars is, after all, about aggression. Saturn is about restriction. When you put the two together, people can take a lot of stick and keep going under very difficult conditions, but then there can be an eruption of frustration. So be sure you're not bottling up your feelings. And one of the magical things that can happen this month is that as Mercury at the start of week 2 and Venus at the start of week 3 go into opposition with Neptune, you have an opportunity to really link with others in quite a magical way. People can be quite enraptured really by some of your ideas or mode of putting across the things you believe in. You could see someone absolutely bewitched by how you come across, which can be very, very special, a very special opportunity for you. But it's also important to understand the downside of Neptune, which confuses and can in some ways distort reality. So around how you put your message across, how you interact with others, or how you relate to people, either generally or in a close personal tie, it is important to try to be real and not want life to be as you think it should be. Sometimes life is as it is, and it's not always so easy. Sometimes it can be a little bit more bumpy. And I think there could be a point this month when not everybody around you, and particularly someone very close to you, may be enamoured by some of your ideas or where you're coming from. They may feel that you need to be a little bit more like your normal self, a bit more grounded in facts and figures rather than ideas and plans. However, take all this in your stride, because once the sun bursts into your sign on the 21st, that's going to reinforce your willpower quite substantially. It too is going to be tested by Saturn at the very end of this month, but I think initially it gives you that bit more grunt physical vitality to keep going. There is a tricky full moon which occurs on the 18th, just before then, and I think when it comes to your obligations to others, it may feel that some of these are closing in on you, and because the full moon in Aquarius clashes or is stimulated by the energies of Uranus, if you do feel that there's a lot of sacrifice on your part but not a lot of gain or respect or appreciation from others, you could suddenly break away from a situation that you've committed yourself to for a very long time, because there's a desire for you to recast your whole public identity, which really comes up to the boil in the third week of this month. But it can be a complete new start in your life, a sensational rejuvenation of your whole personality, your whole project you. And it's a chance to perhaps dress differently, think differently, or to absolutely dazzle people with the quality of your ideas. But it will perhaps be a time when you're taking some risks and beginning again. It's not necessarily going to be a time when you're seeing results. So it could feel a bit scary, but exhilarating too. But I do hope that if you're a creative individual, all the things you've been practicing over the last year, or all the freedom you've been demanding, or all the much greater self-confidence and authority you've been developing, can really come up to the boil and really have a massive impact for you as August comes to a close. It's been a real pleasure being with you. Thank you for joining me. Good luck and goodbye for now.